Hi, and welcome to Speaking Of. I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
And here we are starting season 2 of our show. I know, can you believe we did one whole season? A season that was not watched, but as anyone can tell you, any good TV show, the first season is never watched. So we will be a cult phenomenon.
I'm glad you added phenomenon to the end of that. Thought
Or maybe
we were just
a
gonna be a
cult.
cult.
It could be, we should have a... Never mind, we won't go there. No, I was
For
just
another
thinking, you know,
time.
how some shows, they call their fans, like, the fans have nicknames.
Oh, I do like
And
the idea
I was
of
just
giving
thinking,
nicknames.
yes, what our fans' nicknames would be, but...
What would we call Devin?
We would call Devin too much time on his hands.
Sorry, Devin.
So yes, and as I'm sure you've all noticed, we are not in Studio W today.
No.
We are at Studio J.
Yes.
Studio W is undergoing a fumigation.
Hippie cleaning
Hippie cleaning. Out with the hippies, in with the preps.
or something.
Or something.
Yes. So thank you to the owners of Studio J for letting us bombard.
Yes, and bombard we have.
Haven't we though?
Because we don't know how to do anything less than to bombard.
You know, we really don't.
So, speaking of bombardment...
That's a stretch if I ever saw one.
I hear you bombarded a piece of baked goods.
Wow. This is what happens when Jared doesn't know the story. Which is fine.
And this will be my honest reaction.
Yes, because I purposely have not told Jared this story.
Because she wanted my on-air response.
Well, yeah, okay. And you know, maybe if you weren't in my kitchen, then it won't be the same. But I gotta tell you, so I volunteered to make a birthday cake for my niece's birthday party.
That's where she went wrong. You never volunteer. Never do anything nice.
That's not true. I volunteered to help. My niece actually requested a cake, so I'm gonna say no to
Then
that.
that makes, you can't do that so much.
So I decide she's having a glamour party, and I think, oh, I can do this. I'll make a crown cake, right? A crown cake. And I found this great picture of a crown cake that I was going to emulate. It didn't seem that hard.
Well,
It seemed like a pretty simple
did it have the
concept.
steps? Was it like Legos where you open it up and it says
No
step
instructions.
1?
No instructions. It was just a picture. But I'm like, it's got the little peaks, and they're, you know, the one in the middle is bigger, and then they're
Right.
smaller. And I can totally do that. And mine's going to be better because it's not going to be pink. I'm going to make it like yellow, and it's going to have bling on it, and it's going to be really
It's
cool.
going to be like She-Ra, Princess of Power Cake.
Exactly. And this one had like hearts on it. No. She's 8, not 4. We're not doing hearts.
Yeah.
So I had it all figured out, right? Well, so I baked the cakes. I baked 3 round cakes so I can stack them up and have plenty of, you know, crownage. Anyway. Oh, I have a
Oh no.
Whoops.
I don't even want to know.
Okay. Anyway. Don't try to read my notes.
That word can go so many directions.
I know.
Anyway.
Okay. So I have the cakes and they're sitting there. So this morning I get there, I get the cakes out, and I make a quick batch of frosting so that I can, you know, put the glue between the cakes, right? So have cake 1, layer of frosting, cake 2, and then of course there's like the gap, right?
Right.
Between. So I fill that in with more frosting, and I'm thinking, who doesn't like a big wad of frosting, right? No big deal.
Everybody likes a big wad of frosting.
So then I have the 3rd layer, and I'm like, okay, do I need to put the 3rd layer on the top, or are we just
How
going to
many
go...
layers was it? Just 3?
Just the 2.
Oh, just
yeah,
the
so I
2.
had just the 2, hence the 3rd comes after
Gotcha.
2.
Yes, yeah. Uh-huh.
Someone needs to
Yeah.
hit flashcards again. Anyway, so I have the 2, and I think, okay, great, now the 3rd one can just be like a practice because the 2 is tall enough, right?
Right.
And then I look at it and I think, wait, this isn't working.
Why is it not working?
Well, what seemed simple apparently was not. So now I have this 2-layer cake, and I have the 3rd one, and I'm trying to cut like the peaks into it, right?
Right.
It's not working right. And even now as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking how simple it should be, but it wasn't. And I'm trying to cut, and my husband's all concerned because I've got this giant knife.
It's always a concern when Kate has a knife.
I'm just saying.
In fact, never mind.
Yes?
Did you notice that when we came into Studio J, one of the rules of Studio J, the last one, I kid you not, All weapons must be used outside.
It's true.
No weapons in the studio.
We're pretty sure they put that up before we got here. on purpose.
Anyway, continue.
Anyway, so I'm taking the third piece and I'm trying to cut the crown parts into it, and it's just not working. And so I have all of these like random triangular pieces, and as soon as I pick one up, it just sort of crumbles because the cake is not quite dense enough for what I'm trying to do either. I learned later that I should have frozen the cakes, which would have helped. Although
I would not have thought of that.
I should have thought of that, but also it wouldn't have helped because I still couldn't get the angles quite right. So anyway, I'm there and I've got this one piece of cake, it's in pieces, and it is a mess. So then I've got the other one and it's got all these crumbs on top because we're taking some of the triangles, we're trying to put them on top, so we're trying to make the crown out of the thing, and it's not
We're
working.
trying to make a puzzle from a cake.
Seriously. So then I what my husband refers to as scalped the top layer of the cake, and I took part of that because I'm thinking, well, if I make the bottom kind of down and then I can make the crown part right. So I scalp it, and then there's pieces of cake on this plate, and there's pieces of cake on this plate, and then there's the two stacked on this plate, and I'm standing there, I just don't know what to do.
You could have always just pulled a Bill Cosby and put like paper towel in the part of the cake that was missing and then frosted over it. Don't you remember that episode of The Cosby Show?
I do not.
I'll have to show you. Anyway.
It still wouldn't have looked like a crown. So then my husband steps in to try to help me. And I sit back and I'm like, you know what? It's all yours, right? You go right ahead. And the poor guy, he's like, okay, got these mismatched pieces over here. And he's trying to stick them on, and of course they're falling apart. Meanwhile, the dog is having a heyday on the floor underneath him.
I was going to ask how much had ended up on the floor, but
we'll never
I
know.
didn't. Oh, because the dog took care of it.
But there was no sweeping involved, so it was totally fine. So anyway, so then he's playing with it and he's trying to stack the pieces on top. And so finally we're getting to the point where we're giving up, right? And I'm thinking, okay, we're not gonna have a crown cake. Like it's pretty much over. Well, just before we get to that point, he takes the spoon and he like swipes at the frosting that's in between the two layers, and he just takes a bite of it, which he's kind of making fun of me because I confessed to my container.
You told him?
I confessed that the other day I bought a container of cream cheese frosting and ate it with a spoon. Anyway.
We won't tell you what I confessed to eating.
And not with a spoon. Anyway, so he eats it, and I watch his face as he's eating it, and he's like,
What?
And he says,
did you do to it?
He says, did you forget to put vanilla in this?
Oh no.
And I'm like, yeah. Well, how bad is it? So I take a spoonful, and I'm like thinking at first, for the first split second, oh, that's not so. Oh, it tastes like butter. It was like butter, no cream.
Some people would like that though.
Well, true. So I'm thinking, okay,
Actually,
first
that grosses me out.
we're ruining the cake, and then even if we had managed to salvage it, it tastes like butter. So then we decided
It's a butter cake.
It was a butter
You
cake.
could have just gotten a stick of butter and frosted it.
You know what? It probably would have turned out better than this, because ultimately when we decided it was over, we started cutting the cake into triangles and putting the triangles upright so it kind of looked like a crown, but then there were all these crumbs in the middle, so I just shoved them down.
I told you, paper towel.
And then we tried to frost it. And so I put a glob of frosting on it to see if it would, because you've got the exposed cake, right? Not like the crust. It kind of looked like Wonder Bread. It looked like a sandwich. Anyway, so then the frosting is like starting to sink down, and then glump. It's got all these crumbs all over. It was a disaster. To which it ends with this sentence, my husband saying, well, that's what happens when you showboat. And I laughed really hard and I said, I was. I totally was. I mean, it was a classic Pinterest fail, even though I didn't find it on Pinterest.
think you should try it again, and we can have it for the season 2 premiere party.
Well, that's going to be a disappointment. Let's just say it ended with an ice cream cake instead.
That ice cream cake was good.
It was delicious.
It was fantastic.
Now, speaking of cake.
Oh, gads.
I know, right? My company recently had an anniversary, all right? And the CEO sent out, let it go, let it go.
Let it go. Let it snow.
We had a sing-along
I don't know the
earlier,
words. Let it go.
And that's why the sing-along ended.
Let it go.
So, Let it go.
Let it go.
So, the CEO sends out this big thing, blah, 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 about how great the company is doing, blah, blah, blah. And then P.S., enjoy some cake in honor of our anniversary. And I'm like, yes, cake! And then a little while later, my office gets an email that says, we'll be having cupcakes in the break room. And I was like,
What now?
Cupcakes? I was promised cake. And everyone around me is like, well, what's the
Do the
difference?
cupcakes have an Oreo inside?
Please. No. Not only do they not have an Oreo inside, but they have like this real, here's the thing. Here's the difference between cake and cupcakes, okay? Cake is like cake. And it has the frosting on the outside. But the cupcake, it has like this big wad of this concentration of frosting on the top, and it's colored, and it's okay.
Cake is like cake. Just in case you didn't know.
And then
Gads, let it go. Let it go.
I was really upset about it. I wasn't so upset about it that I didn't accept the cupcakes, because I did have a cupcake, but I was still mad that it wasn't a cake. Anyway, back to you.
In today's weather, it will be 49 degrees with a chance of sunshine.
It'll be 49 degrees with a chance of sanity. Slight chance.
I really should never let you have the Monster ever.
I thought this was milk. I didn't think it was milk.
She didn't. I just, maybe the rest of the season I'll get to talk. I'm glad it's just the start.
Story to share.
At this stage of the game,
we do not all.
I swear, you could have just talked to the wall.
I kind of felt like I was. Maybe season 2 will be the era of a new co-host.
I tried to have the era of the new co-host, but whatever. Some of us, we all have our lot in life. All right, what? How many?
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's do a quick movie review.
Let's. We recently saw a movie that was...
The Lego Movie, and it was...
Awesome!
This movie, everything you've heard about it is absolutely true.
It's so great.
Fantastic toy movie, fantastic everything.
It's fun for everyone.
It is. I was saying earlier, I can't believe that I was in a Full House theater the night that it came out with a bunch of kids, no less, and not a peep. Not a peep. So, how's that?
The duct tape that they handed out at the beginning was probably helpful.
That's right. It probably did help.
Anyway.
So, all-star cast. We've got Chris Pratt. We've got Elizabeth Banks.
What I enjoyed about the movie was listening to it and then every so often leaning over and saying, is that Elizabeth Banks? Yes.
Yes,
Score.
it is.
Is that Morgan Freeman? Yes. Score. Is that Liam Neeson? Why, yes, it is. Score.
I just like how I knew who everyone was. I was pleased with that. And, fun fact, try to figure out who Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill are.
Yes, they are very fun.
They're there, and it's fun.
They're super awesome. Okay, but here's something that I learned.
Oh my goodness.
I watched a clip, and I didn't know this. And maybe Beverly actually said that she knew this.
Did?
I didn't know this. But
what?
So I assumed that when they did the voices for these things that they were all in the room and that they're acting it like they're going through the script. No, they're doing it individually.
They do.
That's boring. And I think that the reason they do that is because otherwise it would take too long.
To do. That's part of the reason, but Billy Crystal and John Goodman, when they made the second Monsters, actually made an arrangement that they be in the booth while they were recording together so they could bounce off each other.
Well,
and I think that makes more sense.
Well, and that's why I thought that they did it together. So I was really surprised to see just one person in there by themselves because that's kind of boring. But then I'm thinking if they did it all together, then they'd probably goof off too much and they'd never.
I don't know, but can you imagine the the behind the scenes footage? Well, it would be a great extra.
It would be, but it was kind of a Morgan extra as it was, just watching one of them talk to themselves. And I was disappointed.
To do. Anyway, but go and see it just because Morgan Freeman's in it and he talks like sweet molasses.
Listen to that sweet molasses.
All right, that does it for our season premiere.
We're done already?
I know, it's been fun. We will be back, though, and do it again. And again.
Let's do it again sometime.
We will. All right, I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
We'll see you next time.